So good day, guys, and welcome to another trading week. Hope we're prepared and then we're ready to execute. So our weekly trading outlook will basically look at the markets and then see the trades that we had last week and then see how they reacted. So you guys can learn from it as well. All the trades that I'm going to be, reviewing now, I shared on my Telegram. So the link to my Telegram will be on this caption or description, so you can join my Telegram group for free, right? So for this week, I refined my strategy to make it more efficient. For synthetic indices, they are computer algorithm, right? So you need to have your strategy updated to what's happening in the market so that it can be more efficient. And I tested it this week and it has been very, very good. So now I'm waiting for first, as we know, a sweep of liquidity, which is at the buy side or the sell side. And then we'll have a directional break of structure, which gives us a clear description of where price is going to and also validates this liquidity sweep. Okay, so we have a directional break of structure. And then we have a clear structure form. Right? And then the structural point becomes a structural liquidity. So this is it. So we're basically waiting for price to, take out our structural liquidity, which is a structure point. And then we have our entry to the downside. So here comes our entry to the downside. Okay. So if you invert this, you have it for the uptrend. So this is basically what we're waiting for. And then it works perfectly well. Okay. So let's get to the chart. For V25, I had a loss first, somewhere around here. Yes, because this was a sweep, like we just talked about. This was a sweep. And then the break of structure was somewhere around here. And then this is structural liquidity, which is what a lower high. And then this is our second break of structure. So price tapped on it, but did not play out. But the reason for this not playing out was because there was another structure on the 4-hour time frame, of which I missed out on this trade as well. But when I was reviewing the charts, I saw why that loss happened. So this is a sweep because this is a lower high and price was breaking structure to the downside. So price swept out this, and then we have structural liquidity forms first. Now, of course, if you are conversant to my channel, you know that most times structural liquidity tends to form first, which makes here our first break of structure. And then this becomes our final break of structure. And of course, this second break of structure must be in place for this whole setup to be valid. So you need to pay close attention to it. Okay, so we have this as our full entry here. So you can see that price tapped on it, and then we had our exit somewhere here, like this. Okay. But of course, I didn't enter this trade actually. But assuming I entered, I can still hold to this point. I can still hold to this point because the trade is not entirely invalid yet. Okay. It's not entirely invalid yet. All my students know that if you are, growing your capital, you can either have your exit here or, try to wait till full take profit. Okay. But if you're a newbie, you cannot hold this full drawdown. The psychology will mess up with you. So I would advise newbies to exit somewhere around there. And then people that are guru can wait to take profit. So I also have a trade on V51X. I give out V50 rather. I gave out this trade on almost all my social media platform and it played out very, very well. I gave out the trade here first. This is a sweep here. And then this was our structural point. And then this was our PR. somewhere around it. Although there are other confluences that I look out for to have precise entries, but this range is my POI. All right, so if you want to get full details with precise execution and all that, you can register for my class. But this can still give you good entries. All right, everything that I share here can give you perfect entries. So I gave her the trade somewhere around here at first, and then there was no confirmation. Consider price, took us out, although we did not enter because there was no confirmation. Okay, and then we had another setup here. So our structural point. So this becomes our POI. And then you can see price tapped on it, and then price gave a very good confirmation here. But my confirmation was on the 30 minutes. Let me show you guys one of the confirmation that I use. So I entered the trade around here. Okay, this candlestick confirmation. This is the morning star. And then this was our take profit. This was our take profit. So this was the confirmation. There was no valid confirmation at our POI, so we did not enter. All right, but this we had a very valid confirmation, and then we have full take profits. Okay. I believe I also had the trade on V15-1X. V15-1X, yes. Yeah. So let's go to that time frame. We already know where price is coming from for these pairs. That's why I don't do top analysis. Okay, anyone that I'm buying or either I'm selling, it means that from the higher time frame, price is coming from an higher time frame POI. So there's no need to, to start doing top analysis. So V15-1X is currently selling, right? I will do my my weekly trading outlook later today so that you guys can see the trades that I'm looking out for. So V15-1X is actually selling from somewhere here and it's headed down here, although it's almost at take profit. Right. And then we also have another sell POI here. And see this. Right. So you can see that price tapped on this POI and it's going to the other side. So those are some of the confluences that I use to, have precise execution. Okay, because my strategy is bent on, tracking market structure more advancedly and then executing with liquidity sweeps and all that. So how the sweep here, this is our structural liquidity point, this is our second book of structure. If you go to the lower time frame, it's very, very clear. Very, very clear. So you can see a sweep of the buy side liquidity, break of structure, which tell us that this is a liquidity sweep and this is not a change of character or this is not a break of structure to the upside. So if price did not break this structure to the downside, it will not have been valid. We'll just call it an uptrend, right? But price broke structure and then gave us a very structural confirmation that this is a downtrend. So every structural point in the market is liquidity. Okay, this is our lower high, and is our lower low. So price swept it, give sound confirmation, evening star here, evening star here, then boom to the downside, zero drawdown, zero drawdown, zero drawdown, right? Zero drawdown. It's about 1:9, very big trade. And we had full take profit. So I believe that's all right. Okay. I've done 350. Okay, I believe I had a trade on step. Yes. Sweet trade as well. Sweet trade. So step 200 is selling to the downs. So it's buying. Yes. It's buying from here on the higher time frame. And then it's buying to somewhere around here. So we basically look out for buy entries, buy entries, buy entries. And then I had one. Then I had one with somewhere here. If I'm not wrong. Had one here. Yes. So this is our structural point. And then price tapped on it. And then we got our exit here. Got our exit here. So I believe that was all for the week. It was a good week. We had just one loss, which was on V25, and then we were good. We were good. We were good. We were good. The other trades that I took that I like, 1:2, 1:2, and all that, I guess was V50 Okay, yes, this was also a trade on V50. But this was on was it last 2 weeks now? I cannot say last week Friday, last 2 weeks Friday, 29th. And then it got to take profits around Monday. Yes. So this was our structural point, price tapped on our POI, and then go to the downside. So all these trade here, I shared them on my Telegram. So if you want to be part of my Telegram, I will drop the link on the caption. And then if you want to learn how I trade personally, you can send me a DM on Telegram, right? If you get to my group, you'll see the link there. SANNYYESE on Telegram. You see my my Telegram channel. Then if you want to probably join our class, you can contact the team on 091-2075401 6, and somebody's there to entertain on Twitter. 4, 5, 6, 7. Correct. So you're not Nigerian, you just had plus 234. 23491. Then you're good. So see you guys along the week, and then wish you guys profitability. I might drop my outlook for the week today. Okay, so stay close to the YouTube. Bye guys.